Welcome to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Mayor Diane Joens, your host. We have an exciting guest today, Roger Naylor. He's a travel and food writer, and he writes about traveling and hiking and eating all over the state of Arizona. He loves the Southwest. He's just recently written 2 books. The first was Arizona Kicks on Route 66. And he just finished Death Valley, which is very interesting. You won't die there. And he's working on another book right now called Boots and Burgers. So welcome, Roger.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's so great to have you on our show, Inside Cottonwood. I've been reading your articles and following you for quite some time. We've Facebooked each other, and I've gotten lots of people to join your Facebook page.
I appreciate that.
Because it's such a great way to keep up with what you're doing.
It is. You know, you can kind of follow along on my little adventures. I call myself a travel writer, but basically what I am is a professional bad influence.
And so explain how that works.
Everything I write is designed to make you play hooky.
Oh, okay.
Call in sick, go for a hike. Skip out of that afternoon meeting, go for a bike ride. Ignore those weekend chores and take a road trip. Get out and see this beautiful place that we live in. Get out and explore it. And by the way, I think road trip may be the 2 most beautiful words in the English language, except bacon wrapped, and that's more of a hyphenated situation. So.
Oh, I've read about some of those yummy, gooey things that you write about.
I know. I'm very fortunate. I have this incredible job.
So tell us a little bit. You've only been actually professionally writing in a professional capacity for a few years. What did you do before that?
Well, I've actually been a freelance writer for about 20 years, coming up on 20 years. But I've only been doing travel for about the past 8 or so, 7 or 8 and stuff. You know, a travel writer is just a drifter with organizational skills. That's sort of what I did. I spent a lot of time kind of rambling around the West and the Southwest. I came out to Arizona originally as a college student at Northern Arizona University many decades ago, and just fell in love and knew this was where I was going to live, and I explored the West and worked at different jobs. I ran a landscaping business for many years. I did stand-up comedy for many years, and
you just have a very creative
worked in radio. I did. All the time I knew I was going to be a writer, and I was just sort of moving towards that slowly. I started writing and getting more and more things published, and you know, for years I made a living as a humor writer. I just wrote for magazines and newspapers around the country and for radio stations and so forth.
And I can see that even in your travel writing. You have a great sense of humor. The way your style is, you can just make a person smile while they're contemplating that hike.
I try to. You know, I have no journalism background. So I think my style is very informal. It's very relaxed, very casual. It kind of pulls people in. It's very conversational, and that's you know, that's what I want to do. I want people to join me on my whatever. If I'm on a hike, I want them to be there with me. If I'm taking a road trip, I want them to be there. You know, I'm not an expert in any of these things. I write about food all the time. I have no idea what I'm talking about other than I like to eat. I know what I like. So I'm not throwing a lot of fancy phrases around or description. I'm just saying, hey, man, this is hot and salty and delicious. What more do you want?
Right.
Yeah, I think I connect with people in that way. And that is helpful.
Now, on your website, you say, I'm a travel writer who hates to travel.
I do. I have this, I don't like to go anywhere. I'm a homebody, but I love Arizona in the Southwest, so it doesn't feel like traveling. I'm just rambling around my backyard. In fact, I'm doing a couple. My primary publication is the Arizona Republic newspaper out of Phoenix. I write for several others as well, but I'm in there most Saturdays where I have the lead travel feature.
It seems like they're really counting on you these days.
I'm pretty much the only freelancer that they use and stuff. So I'm there most Saturdays. Last Saturday I had the my romance ideas for Valentine's Day planning.
The Clarkdale train ride, and the
that was one of them.
Chocolate.
Sure.
Chocolate, not walk, but
no, it's the chocolate festival that they do over Valentine's Day weekend. Then I'm doing a couple new series for them this year. One is called Vanishing Arizona, and the other is just called Roger Naylor's Arizona.
Wow.
It's just me rambling around. So like, for example, this week I wrote my first one of those that'll appear, I think, a week from Saturday the 16th or 18th or whatever it is. But all I did is I spent a day rambling around Camp Verde. I went to Montezuma Well, I went to the salt mine, I went to the archaeology center downtown, I went zip lining over the out of Africa,
fun.
And then, you know, I ended up at the Horn having a little meal and a beer, and I'm home. I spent an entire travel day practically in my backyard.
Exactly.
That's what I mean by, you know, I hate to be out of Arizona or the Southwest. You know, when they asked me to do the Death Valley book, I'm a desert guy, so I love that anyway. But yeah, as far as other travel writers that, you know, go to these exotic places and around the world, I have no interest in it whatsoever.
You don't want to hang out on the beach. You just want to be in a quiet
if I want to hang out
mountain.
at the beach, I'll head over to Lake Havasu City and hang out on the beach. We've got it all.
Many articles about Lake Havasu City.
Exactly. We've got everything I need right here.
Well, I think that especially locally, I can only speak for us locally, but our businesses so much appreciate you. And the great things that you've written, well, the Camp Verde article coming up, I mean, that will do so much good for that community. I mean, so many people all over Arizona who get the Arizona Republic. I have an online subscription. They're going to come to Camp Verde after they read that article.
Well, that's my goal. That's what I hope to do, and that's what I encourage people to do. I don't write about, very seldom am I writing about any kind of chain restaurant, hotel, anything. Not that there's anything wrong with them. They're perfectly fine. But I support the mom and pop businesses. I support the local and the small towns. I very seldom write anything about Phoenix, just because I'm writing travel features for the paper. The section that I write for is either the Explore Arizona section or the travel section, both of which don't, you know, that's not really, they write about Phoenix through the rest of the paper. They want me to cover the outside areas around the state. And so I like to get people to come out to small towns. I'm always amazed when I meet people. You know, I'm telling them where I'm writing about. I'm doing a story on Oatman, or I'm doing a story on Yuma or Tombstone, and they're going, where is that? Or I've never been there. I'm going, oh.
I think that you are, you know, just with your writings, are solely bringing people to rural Arizona, and thank you, because
it's my pleasure.
That's something that, I mean, just your article about the different restaurants in Cottonwood was so interesting, and the business.
And fun to research.
And fun to research. You ate your way right through it.
I did. It was great.
But I do think Cottonwood and the Verde Valley, we are becoming a culinary destination. And your article really brought that out and let everybody in the, you know, we say when we're marketing Old Town, we say that our target audience is really the Phoenix area. That's our biggest audience that will come up here and actually stay and wine taste and eat. And so, you know, your articles are really helping our economic development.
Well, good. I think so, and I think that's right. You know, a lot of the small towns around here, and even places where they don't get the Arizona Republic newspaper anymore, the physical paper, it's still online. But what they don't realize sometimes is Phoenix is the 5th largest city in the country. It's a huge population base right there, and everybody in Phoenix likes to get out of Phoenix.
They want to get out. They want to
travel, especially for, you know, for those hot months of the year. They want to travel.
On their way
so
up here.
I like giving them all these little ideas, you know, that are close. Again, that are in their backyard. You know, it's an easy day trip for us to Phoenix if we want to run down to shop and eat and come back. And it's the same with them. They can do that as a day trip. They can do it as a weekend. If they want to come up and spend a week, a few few days in Sedona, a few days in Jerome, Cottonwood, Camp Verde. You know, you can spend a week here and not see just a fraction of what we have. So that's what I want to let people know about. And I try to write below the surface a little bit, like in the Camp Verde article. I'm talking about the old salt mine in Camp Verde. Not a lot of people know about that.
Exactly.
I focused on Montezuma Well instead of Montezuma Castle because I think Montezuma Well is such an underappreciated gem. It's so beautiful, and especially in the springtime. So it's still a little early now, but by the time the story comes out, plants the seed, people come up in the spring, go, oh, the globe mallow are blooming, the penstemon are blooming, the cottonwoods are leafing out. It's very beautiful down there by the creek. So I try to focus on things maybe they don't know about, they haven't heard about, and encourage them to explore a little on their own.
Right. Well, you're just the one-man economic development machine, I think. We do have to take a little break right now, and we will be right back with Inside Cottonwood.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Mayor Diane Joens, your host, talking with Roger Naylor, a travel writer today, who actually lives here in Cottonwood.
I do.
Right here in Cottonwood. He writes articles all over the state. Many of you have read these articles in many different publications, but he writes mainly for the Arizona Republic. So if you see the name Roger Naylor with an article about our area, now you've met him on the show. So you will actually be able to picture who this writer is. So we have a famous writer right amongst us here. Let's talk a little bit about your big 2013 project. You were going to hike 1,000 miles. Did you succeed?
My final total was 1,140.
All right.
So yes, I made it.
And what I read was that you actually kind of finished it up right here in the Verde Valley.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I usually do. I start here and I finish here. But yeah, I finished a brand new trail in Dead Horse Ranch State Park there, one they had just completed, the Bones Loop
Trail.
Right off of Raptor Hill, or Lower Raptor now they call it, I think. Yeah, it was a series that I wanted to write for the Arizona Republic, and so each month I focused on a few different trails and just kind of let people go along, and I had a lot of people that were following me that set a quest of their own, that were doing, whatever, however many miles they wanted. And then I finished up just last month with right after the new year with a series saying, here's how I did it, and some tips for people that want to get out and explore, because it's I've done it a few times before and stuff, and I like it because when you tell somebody, oh, I'm going to hike 1,000 miles, it sounds really impressive. It's really, wow, that's amazing. Basically what it is, I try to hike 20 miles each week.
Okay.
I just break it down. Each week I get out on the trail.
That's a lot, though.
It is. It's a lot, and you have to be consistent. That's the main thing. That's what it does for me, because I always hike a lot. I'm an avid hiker. But when I have that goal in front of me, it keeps me out week after week after week. I mean, all of last year, I only missed 1 week where I didn't hike, and that was because I was back in Cincinnati visiting my family. So, but every other week I was out, usually 3 or 4 or 5 days a week, just, a lot of times in Dead Horse, a lot of times down by the river, out towards Sedona, a lot of trails. That's the great thing. everybody in Arizona lives within 15 minutes of a trailhead somewhere,
Absolutely.
no matter where. Even if you're down in Phoenix, in the
That's
heart
true.
of Phoenix, they have beautiful mountain parks all
Yes,
over
they
the place.
do.
So you can get out and, again, explore. You get great exercise. You see all kinds of wildlife, all kinds of cool stuff, and
You
just get to explore a little bit, get healthier spiritually, physically, and mentally. And so
get
I
that
like it.
quiet time and
It's
kind of
very soothing.
be able
Yeah.
to, soothing is a great word, be able to just kind of shut out the world for a little while.
Exactly. You know, when I never understand people I see out on the trail that are listening to music or talking on their phone or something. You know, cell phones are great, and iPods and the earphones are terrific at the gym or when you're doing everyday things, but I like quiet. I like, you know,
like
when I'm
that
on the trail,
peacefulness.
yeah, I want to be on the
good
trail.
for
My
the
phone's usually
soul.
turned off, and yeah, unless I, you know, really expecting some important call or something, I like to be quiet. You know, you can't reach me if I'm on the trail, and I'm okay with that. That's
Right.
fine with me.
Right.
You can leave a message,
Well,
I'll get back to
A lot of
you.
times the phones don't work out on those trails. They don't
Which
have
is another
cell
bonus.
service.
You
So
know, we've become
right.
so dependent. We're garroted by our gizmos.
Our
they're
computers,
just
I
You know, we're
know.
so locked in and stuff,
We
and it's
don't,
nice to break free of that.
just
once
turn
in a while.
them off and think about life. And so the hikes you wrote, so each time, about every week, you would write an article
Once a month.
about your hikes.
Yeah, once a month I'd write about the trails that a few of my
Okay.
favorite trails that month, and you know, a few of the things I was seeing and discovering along the way. And that's also leading into, this was a book that I'd had in my publisher, Rio Nuevo Publishers down in Tucson. We'd been talking about a hiking book, and so that led to my the book that I just finished the manuscript on. It will come out later in 2014, but it's a hiking and dining guide to Arizona called Boots and Burgers.
That sounds cool.
Well, for me, that's the best day you can have.
Exactly.
If you go out and spend a few hours hiking, seeing wonderful country and work up this great appetite, you got some exercise, and then you stop and find a little diner someplace and get a good simple burger, just a great burger. I'll take that day any day I can get it.
So tell us, in your travels, where are some of the best burgers? Or would that be like preempting the book
No,
here?
yeah, you know, I certainly don't mind. We have a great, you know, there's going to be a lot of places. There's a whole chapter on Sedona and the Verde Valley here and stuff.
Great.
And, you know, we've got a couple of terrific burger joints here in Cottonwood. You just can't beat Verde Lee Market. They do terrific burgers there. We've got the Haunted Hamburger up in Jerome,
They're
another good burger
delicious.
place.
I've been going there for 20-some years now.
Yeah, and you know, Sedona, they've got a few good burger joints, and it's not all burger joints. Like I included Simon's Hot Dogs in Sedona and stuff,
Okay.
because you know, every now and then you want a good hot dog or
That's
something.
true.
And
A
stuff.
little
And,
bit of
you know, so
variety.
mix things up in there and stuff, and good trails all over the place here. So.
Well, that's exciting. So when is this book coming out?
It should come out this fall.
Okay.
Like I said, I just literally turned in the manuscript, the final piece of the manuscript on Monday. So we're just at that editing design phase right now and have to sift through things and match up photos and do all that. And that'll take several weeks, and then it goes off to printers and, you know,
Okay.
comes back and stuff.
So you must like spend about 24/7. You're either hiking, eating, or writing.
You know, I do. I have this amazing job, but the only kind of downside to it is there's no off switch, because everything I do is
Work.
Yeah, it's basically work. You know, as much as I love hiking and as much as I love going out and eating, I've always got a notebook right with me.
You always
know,
have
I'm
to be
always,
thinking
yeah,
about, your mind is going, how am I going to describe
Right,
this
exactly.
beauty that I'm experiencing
Yeah.
so that the reader can understand and want to go there.
Right, yeah. I used to never hike with a camera. I used to, you know, because I did for a while but then after a while, you know, I just want to enjoy stuff. But now I'm back to where I have to have a camera with me because it's part of work again.
Exactly.
So I always have to do that. So, and I don't like that as much because, you know, you're seeing this great thing and you just want to enjoy it. Think, oh, wait, I got to get a shot of this. Or, you know, when I see wildlife or something, that's the first thing I'm thinking, oh, can I get a photo and stuff? And just enjoy it. Just, you know, relax.
Right, right. Well, every once in a while you just have to go. But then if you don't have your camera,
I know, that's when I see.
Fortunately, they come in very small pocket varieties now, and they do a fairly good job.
Right.
Do you carry like really professional equipment?
Oh, no.
You
I'm a mediocre photographer at best, and I have virtually no interest in it. You know, I just don't have time to learn something. So I have a decent camera, and then I usually have a phone as well and stuff. But what I try to do a lot of times is for many of my articles for the Arizona Republic too, I've made contacts with a lot of photographers and people that I meet out on the trail. I'll meet someone who's got you know, this big beautiful camera, and I'll just start chatting with them, find out you know, it's just something they do for a hobby, something they like to do. But I'll say, hey, you know, I've always got business cards, so I'm slipping them a card, say, hey, look, if you're interested, you got some shots you want to share, I'm writing about this trail, you get credit for it in the paper. So a lot of people get real, you know, they love that, the idea of it. And, you know, I wind up getting better photos to go along with the story. The paper's happy. The people are thrilled. They've got their papers in the newspaper. So, you know, it's a win-win, and it gives them sometimes a little boost. So, and a lot of times aspiring photographers that, you know, just want to build up a portfolio or so I work with a lot of them and
a lot of
stuff.
different citizens. Well, we need to stop and take another short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about your books and where people can locate them or find them or purchase them. All right, we'll be right back after this short break.
There's no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away. But making sure your child is in the right seat is just one of the steps down the road to safer travels.
I don't know how it works.
Find the right seat for your little one's age and size.
We've done what you told us.
There's no better way to get home safely. Know for sure that your child is in the right seat. Get all the facts at safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. Mayor Diane Joens, your host, with Roger Naylor. So, Roger, we want to talk about the two books that you have written. We know that
Boots and Burgers.
Boots and Burgers is coming up. I kind of think of Tombstone when I think of boots. And you've already written Death Valley, Hottest Place on Earth, and your first book, of course, was Arizona Kicks on Route 66.
Right, yeah, this came out in 2012. The photography is by Larry Lindahl. Both Larry and I worked for Arizona Highways magazine for many years and stuff, so you get beautiful photographs and stuff. And this has already gone through 3 printings. It's just the Arizona portion of Route 66. I don't know if you can see some just big, vivid photographs, but a lot of great information. But it's just New Mexico to California. Arizona has the longest unbroken stretch of Route 66 still in existence. This is where the Route 66 preservation movement began. The people in Seligman started that. The only national park on Route 66 is here in Arizona. So a lot of really fascinating stuff here.
I saw a picture of Winslow standing on the corner.
Standing on the corner, the most famous corner. And it's available at Desert Dancer in Cottonwood, at Well-Read Coyote in Sedona, and the Visitor Center in Sedona, several other places as well. Retails for $11.95. This book just came out in November, so this is very new. It's Death Valley, the hottest place on Earth. An amazing place.
They say.
It is, but just spectacular with big badlands and sand dunes and snow-capped peaks. The largest national park in the lower 48 states. a place I just fell in love with because, well, I am a desert rat, and which is not a lifestyle I recommend for anyone. You know, loving the desert's like being in a relationship with someone who constantly tries to kill you.
Exactly.
You always forgive them.
Everything is hot, it stings you.
I know. But this is it's a beautiful book, great history there. With all the old mining, the ghost towns to it. A lot of people remember it from Death Valley days, the long-running radio and television show with the old stories. But it retails for $12.95, also available at Desert Dancer in Cottonwood, Well-Red Coyote in Sedona. And if anyone is interested in hearing me talk, I will be in Flagstaff on Monday, February 10th. At 12:15, part of their brown bag lunch series at Reardon Mansion, which is a great little facility. So they always have me come up and talk. So I'll be chatting about Death Valley and some Arizona travel and so forth.
And you're very busy, but if someone else would like you to come and speak, how do they arrange that?
You can contact me through my website, rogernaylor.com, and that's how you can also connect to my Facebook page, Twitter, and follow along on my little adventures, see where I'm heading off to now. Next.
So you're planning to just continue this. You were talking about you might have needed knee surgery, but your knee's held out and you've been real healthy, so you just plan on you're going to continue to hike and eat and write.
Until someone catches on, I feel like I'm running this great scam and somebody's eventually going to wake up and go, wait a minute, this guy, he's just some guy who's always out there writing about what he eats and stuff. We can't just keep paying him money to do this, but so far I'm getting away with it. So yeah, as long as I can do that, I will. I've got, like I said, I have 2 new series coming up this year for the Arizona Republic, Vanishing Arizona, looking at a lot of the old stuff some that's still around, some that's disappeared. My next story is on guest ranches, dude ranches. But then, and the other is Roger Naylor's Arizona. But then I'm also doing various miscellaneous stories through the year. I write for Route 66 magazine, Western Art and Architecture, and several USA Today, several other publications. Today.
And then, of course, our flagship for the state, the Arizona Highways, which you already mentioned, but I wanted to mention that again, because, I mean, to be published in that is
it's always a pleasure. It's always
very, you know, it says a lot about your talent.
Well, thank you.
To be able to write for Arizona Highways. I mean, they just don't take anybody. Right. They're a little bit fussy about their writers and their photographers.
Thank goodness I don't have to do the photography there. So.
Right. So, okay, so let's just talk a little bit more. What I really, in reading articles, I just think that your way with words, your descriptive ability, your creativity is something that I notice. And it just makes you want to go on to the next sentence because it's just your style. Well,
I think so. Thank you. That I think my humor background is helpful with that it sort of gives me an unusual perspective. I kind of come at things from non-traditional ways, a new perspective, how to see things, and yeah, I tend to write so that people rush through my stuff, so that it does kind of pull them through the piece, and hopefully it encourages them to get out and do a little exploring. You know, I'm probably not the best person to write big, long, historic pieces or you know, more serious topics and stuff. But hey, if you need somebody to write about a burger or some pie or taking a zip line ride or a kayak trip when he's scared to death of drowning in water, you know, then I'm your guy. Then
You're the one.
Yeah, because I just have fun with it, and I think if I'm having fun with the piece, then the reader will as well.
So in your hike that we talked about before, your 2013 hike, you talked about days hiked, 222, days with multiple hikes, 16 of those days in that year. You hiked 142 trails, and trails that you'd never hiked before, 65 of them. They were brand new to you.
That was really amazing, yeah.
When you did these statistics, 1 week, as you said, without hiking. And I love this. You ate 35 burgers. on your hike.
That's sort of a low ball too. I kind of cheated on that because at the time I was researching my book, Boots and Burgers. So I was eating a lot of extra burgers for the book, so I felt like, well, I can't be included. It kind of skew the number,
right?
But I think
we got to keep our books separate, right? And our stories.
It probably made it sound like, oh, he doesn't eat that many burgers. Maybe good. My doctor.
So you saved some of those burgers for the other book, okay? And pieces of pie. You ate 32 pieces of pie on your travels, and you ran into 3 rattlesnakes.
That was it.
That would be scary.
All in the Verde Valley.
And I love this one. You ran into 2 dogs wearing sunglasses.
I forget the one guy's name. The one was named Chico. He was a Chug, or Pico. Chug is a part Chihuahua and a dachshund, a part Chihuahua and a pug, and he had these big old sunglasses just trotting down the trail. It was just hilarious.
So it sounds like you've had a lot of fun. We're out of time, but in closing, I'd just like to talk about what would be, if you had any advice to give your readers, what piece of advice would you give them?
Take advantage. We live in the most beautiful state in the country, and take advantage. Get out and see it as much as you can. It doesn't you don't have to wait for vacation or long weekends or holidays. Like I said, day trips. Get out and explore the neighborhood. Start there and expand. Don't let this pass you by. Life is not that long. Get out and grab it every day that you can. Play some hooky.
Play some hooky. Okay. So we're happy to have met you, for those who don't know you. And now when they see your name in the Arizona Republic, Arizona Highways, all the other magazines that you write for, they're going to know who Roger Naylor is if they haven't already met you, which they may have through your books, your book signings, and all of the places that you speak. It's been great having you on the show. We'll have to do this again.
It's my pleasure anytime.
And that's the way it is in Cottonwood.